Hey, hi, hello. You are listening to UW Comedy Hour on Rainy Dog Radio. UW Comedy Hour airs every Saturday at 9 a.m., available at rainydawg.org. If you can't listen in at 9, go to UW Comedy Club's YouTube channel, see older radio episodes, and pull full performances from members. To hear more, you can follow Rainy Dog on Instagram at rainydawg. UW Comedy Club is the best and only stand-up comedy club at UW. To hear more from us, including performer highlights, show schedules, and meeting info, follow us on Instagram at UW Comedy Club. We have meetings in Savory Hall, room 136, every Wednesday at 6:30, and there is absolutely no experience required. So saddle up, cowpoke, and let's see how well you can ride, and then mosey on down. Check out our Instagram for information on our house party show happening tonight, Saturday, 12/4 at 7 p.m. somewhere on the Ave. Off the Ave. House off the Ave. You figure it out. Featuring Comedy Club's first ever roast battle. It'll be a hell of a time. We hope to see you there. It's going to be an absolute kick. Very excited. Today in the Not Studio, we have the newest addition to Comedy Club's collection of ex-Mormons, Patrick Hanks.
Howdy, howdy. Thanks for having me.
Continued the Western theme we got going on.
Yeah. That was a great intro.
Oh yeah. Really ranking up there. So it's the end of autumn quarter. How's it been for you? How's it going for you, Patrick?
Pandemic's still going on.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, I saw somebody, they said it was like, it's been going on for 2 years, and I was like, wait, what? I feel like it's just completely blown my conception of time.
Oh, yeah.
I still feel like it started like 2 months ago.
Oh, yeah. Every time I acknowledge how long I've really spent locked inside my house, it's worse every time because it gets longer every time.
I know we've got the Omicron.
Yeah, we do. And we're going to keep
Pandemic Part 5.
I'm looking at this with some sort of fatalism because it's like, if you look at any like virologists, that's not their actual name, is it?
I have no idea. Sounds good. Go with it.
Oh yeah, let's roll with it. Never happened. But they're just like, yeah, no, there's going to keep being new strains so long as people don't get vaccinated, whether that's by like willingly not getting vaccinated or vaccines aren't made available. Like a lot of companies in the US still have patents on the vaccines, which is why they're not able to like really be widely distributed in a lot of places.
It's crazy. We'll have to see what the numbers are, but right now I think it's like if you're vaccinated, then like you have like not a super huge chance of getting like hospitalized with it, but we still have like a lot of unvaccinated people. So let's just keep that. Let's just keep the pandemic. Let's see how long we can keep it going.
Oh, let's spin for 3. Let's spin for 3.
Let's see if we can set a record.
Events.
But yeah, I'm a senior, but this is my first quarter on campus because I transferred from Bellevue College last year, but it was all online. So I was, Zoom University from my parents' house. So it's been interesting. And because I was at Bellevue, I never really got the on college campus university experience. It's been really different having that this year.
Yeah. Well, we're excited to have you.
And thank you.
Enjoying all of UW's desperately cut down amenities, like the libraries that closes 5 p.m.
Oh, true. See, I'm just so used to studying at home that it's like, why do I want to go put on clothes and go to a library?
I totally get that, but something I found myself doing through the pandemic is like I did make sure I got dressed every day because that's something for me. I put on jeans every day because I'm like I have to at least pretend that
you're a functioning adult.
I'm going somewhere. I have to pretend. I'd get myself in the denim mindset of I'm doing work today. That's what the jeans are for. They're for work. And that slowly slid into me just full on like having the lecture on my computer and just be like, well, I can take notes from my bed, which is a trap. If you ever think, well, I'll just do homework in my bed. No, you won't. You'll fall asleep on top of your homework.
Yeah.
but doing it is different.
I did that all last year. It's like, oh, I'll watch the
Yeah,
lecture in my bed, and then
in
it's
my
like,
bed. And then wake up far after the lecture was over,
yeah.
knowing that I live in fear, knowing that a professor definitely asked my empty ass Zoom window, like, Bella, do you have any questions?
That would explain all the little groups that I got put into with just blank screens that never responded.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm not even there. There'd be sometimes where I'm like, yeah, this lecture's going, but I do want to eat lunch, so I'm just gonna, be there. Air
That
quotes.
that actually helps
Parentheses.
me though, because I feel like my parents never really understand when I talked about how boring class is until because I'll normally put it on headphones or be up
Yep.
in my room, but sometimes I'd bring it down and take off the headphones while I'm eating,
Yeah.
and my mom would be like, "Do you have to listen to that?"
I love it where it's like, you go. If you don't believe me, you go
Yeah,
to it.
yeah. It's
You go
like,
do
oh,
it.
you see what I'm talking about?
You sit in for me.
Yeah. I think the jeans aren't a problem for me because I was homeschooled, so I'm just used to being in pajamas all the time. That's
Okay.
that's my go-to.
Yeah. You're just used to like, well, this is where I do the school in
Yeah,
the home.
yeah. I think better in pajama pants.
I honestly feel that too. I feel like it has something to do with the fact where like you feel freer. Like
Yeah.
I don't feel like I've ever had like a really creative idea while wearing denim. I feel like
Tight,
it's
it's the
stifles.
waistband. A tight
It's the
waistband is bad
waistband.
for
You're so
creativity.
right. It's the waistband. It's you're preparing yourself to mine, I think. I think of miners.
That's where the
I think of
jeans were made
refining
for
oil.
miners.
I think of fighting cattle. I don't think of art. This is why artists always wear like linen. You need to be free.
Yeah, yeah. In a
You
robe.
can't, yeah. In a just loose, just airflow everywhere.
Yeah. I
I
I
need to
watched
feel the breeze.
I watched Mank, which is about this
Mm.
old Hollywood
I
writer.
love Mank.
Yeah, and he would write like exclusively at night.
Fuck yes. Yeah, my man. My man. Mank is the perfect like Bella bait because I love movies about making movies.
Okay.
Upton Sinclair and David Fincher.
Well, there you go.
Netflix should have started all of those ads with like Bella introducing Mank, like my name, comma.
Oh, they're gonna have that. They're gonna use AI to make custom
Oh yeah.
commercials, individualized
Oh yeah.
commercials just for you.
Netflix already does that based on like what thumbnail they show you for
Yes.
shows. Yeah.
Yes. See, so the
Spooky.
the AI commercials is just the next level.
It worked. Mank and Hail Caesar are both just like catnip. I'm
Yeah,
into it.
that's your shit.
Teach me more about the studio system. I want to learn.
For sure.
What do you do for school, Patrick Hanks?
Well, I'm a communications major, so
Okay.
whatever that means.
I'm sorry that your professors are so bad at communicating.
Yeah, I know for real. Well, they're better than the ones at Bellevue. The ones at
Okay.
Bellevue are like really bad. But yeah, this quarter, it started a month ago. I found out I have a kidney stone. So that's like taken over my
Wow.
quarter. I was so excited, like, oh, first quarter on campus. I'm in my apartment for the first time ever. I'm out doing stuff, and then wake up one day and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. You're giving birth to a pointy rock
Yeah, and it's
that
still going
hates you.
on. Like
No.
I thought I was over it, and then this week I'm still like passing stuff. So it's like it's crazy. But yeah, I've had one professor who straight up he does not answer his email. He reads it because you'll go to class and be like, hey, did you see my email? He's like, oh yeah, and he's super chill, which makes it nice. But it's just like he does not
Okay.
respond to emails.
I do understand him though, because sometimes I'll see an email and be like, no, I didn't. I mean, I didn't. It's not for me. I mean, it was sent to me and it has Bella, comma in the body, but that's not like different
Yeah.
Bella.
I wonder if it's like because their emails can be subpoenaed. So I wonder if he's just like, nah, I'm not emailing anyone at
I'm
all,
not putting
ever.
shit in writing.
Which I can respect that. I can
Okay.
I can respect someone who's like, no, I'm not putting it down in writing, man. Call me bro.
Verbal agreements only. You'll hear what I have to say, and I'm not going to tell you squat in the
Yeah,
written word. Maybe he's just a big fan of, not Pythagoras, not Pilates,
I have no
Plato.
idea. Plato,
Got there.
maybe. When I
Just
was
like
on
the writing's making the kids dumb. True communication is done orally.
when I was on my mission, we like you're not supposed to text or call missionaries outside of like your sort of your
Your
group.
bubble, your
Um,
orb.
but we would anyways. But we
Ooh.
found out that they could read the texts, and they can look at the call logs, but obviously they can't tell what you talked about. So you started off like it got to the point where I would tell people like, "Don't text me, man. Just call me."
That's smart. I've learned two terrifying things. Well, one terrifying thing real quick right now. One, you were the bad boy Mormon.
Ah.
Oh, everyone says some bad boy. And two, Mormon NSA, not a fan. Hey, hey, huh, hey.
I wasn't even that bad though.
Oh, but you were
They get
texting.
they get
Whoa.
what happened with me is I don't know what the mission president was thinking. I went to Colorado, and you've heard of Aspen, Colorado, right?
I'm aware of that there's a city named Aspen, Colorado. Yes.
Okay, it's like imagine a magical world inside the US that's just different from the rest of the US. That's what Aspen is like. It's a place where there's a lot of rich people go for
Um,
skiing, and there's biggest mansions I've ever
okay.
seen in my life, just huge. But then there's all the regular people there that like will work for them, but it's just like they have such a different mentality there. Like wearing ties is not a thing. They think that is just the most ridiculous thing ever. We got said like if you wear a tie to a job interview here, they will not hire you. It doesn't matter what it's for. Like you could be going to interview to be like the manager of a hotel, and if you wear a tie, they're gonna be like, we don't think you're a good fit.
We feel like you're a bit of a square to work at the Marriott.
Yeah, so having
But
being
take your
like
ass to Best Western.
so having us walk around in suits and ties was just like they were like, what are you doing, who are you? So that's where I got trained, that's where I got started
Mhm.
off, and then he had me get trained by this missionary who was a very experienced disobedient
Mhm.
missionary. He knew all the tips and tricks, and then
Okay.
this guy, he had just been a zone leader, but he was getting banished because he had offended the mission president. So it's
Okay.
like I'm like this goody two shoes Mr. Perfect Mormon coming in, and he's like, I'm gonna send you to Aspen, and I'm gonna have you get trained by two like exiled missionaries, and that it was just from there on out. It was like,
If you replaced the word missionary with samurai, this would do fucking numbers. Like Quentin Tarantino would direct this and be fucking insane.
you could make
But
so many.
they just dropped you in the lap of this disobedient missionary and just had you be ready.
Oh, you could make so many different movies and
Oh yeah.
shows based off of my
Oh yeah.
mission.
Oh yeah. No. Oh yeah. Delightful. Delightful. How'd you get into doing comedy, Patrick Hanks?
um, I think. Well, I mean, Uh, uh, I grew up watching The Cosby Show, which is controversial topic now. Um, so that was like a little bit of comedy, but I never would consider myself like super into stand up until
Mhm.
and especially when I was a goody two shoes Mormon, because it's like, ooh, they swore, I can't listen to that. That's not appropriate,
Mhm.
but then I came back from my mission, and I came back early for health problems, and I was like,
Mhm.
and it was not an overall positive experience for me. So I was like really angry, and it was like tough time. And then I discovered Bill Burr,
Mhm.
because I feel like as a guy, people tell you like, oh, be in touch with your emotions and feel your emotions. And then if you get angry, they're like, oh, but not that emotion. Don't feel that emotion. You're not allowed to be angry. And so like seeing a guy who's like talking about being angry and like kind of not, he's not like, don't take it out on other people, but that's
Mhm.
just how he expressed himself. I was like,
His way of like taking it out is like, I'm not gonna go like kick a car, but I am gonna do stand up and get it out that way.
yeah. So I was
Damn
like,
it. Yeah.
Yeah, especially for me, because if I bottle something up, it doesn't go away. It just like builds and builds and builds. So it's like, oh, there's a way to express this without like making everybody feel awful. So yeah, probably like that. That's when I like started liking stand up and getting into it, was watching Bill
Yeah.
Burr.
How much do you know about the band Black Flag?
I've never heard of it ever.
It's I don't know that much about the band Black Flag, but I do know the front man, Henry Rollins, he
Okay, I've
went
heard of Henry
to
Rollins.
yes, he went to military school and then left
Mm.
military school to California and then saw a Black Flag concert, basically just like rushed the stage, got on and started singing. They're like, "You're crazy, come join our punk band."
Oh my gosh.
And he is now like a stand-up comedian. He does stand-up, he does Black Flag still. I think he wrote some poems. He's on the History Channel talking about
Does
like
I
secret places in America.
doesn't he did he only do Black Flag, or was he in Metallica? I feel like he was in
I
something else.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. But he is known for like Black Flag. And it's funny seeing him do stand-up because
I'll
he
be
still
Jamie.
raps the
I'll
chord like
pull it
he's
up.
about to like punk scream. It's delightful.
Oh no, he was a columnist for Rolling Stone. I thought he was in the Rolling Stones. I was like, that's weird. I have no idea. Oh, he was in The Legend of Korra as Zahir.
He's fucking everywhere. That's what I'm saying. But
Oh no,
like
he's just in Black Flag. Okay.
no, there's
He
definitely
he
a
was he was
connection
just
with
in
like
Black Flag. He wasn't in anything else.
okay. There's definitely like a connection. Like I feel that too. Obviously not like being told I can't feel angry, but in the different like the lady way of being told where it's like, no, you're nice, you're polite.
Yes,
You're like,
yeah.
no, I want to kick cars and break shit. And
Yeah, I've been experiencing that. Like, I don't know if I'm just aware of it now because I'm taking a drama class this quarter,
Mhm,
and there's a lot of like people who've never really done drama in it before.
mhm,
Particularly, I think there's only like 4 or 5 guys in the
mhm,
class, so there's a lot of women in the class,
mhm,
and it's interesting watching them. It's like society has trained them to behave a certain way,
mhm.
and then in drama you're trying to get them to kind of
Yeah,
break that mold a little bit, and it's been interesting watching
yeah.
them struggle with that. And then also I've learned some things about like there's things that I thought was just like average or normal or neutral,
Mhm.
and I didn't realize that those were considered like sort of masculine or like only okay for like a guy to do.
There's a lot of rules about like unspoken rules, obviously with big things that you're taught like not explicitly but implicitly.
Yeah, yeah, for
We're
sure.
just like a big one is like I've talked to some girls where it's like I tried to go the whole day without smiling and it's just a reflex. I call myself I have waitress face. Like I have this instinct where it's like, hi, I want hey sweetheart, can I get you some napkins? Like I I want to look friendly all the time, but sometimes I don't fucking feel friendly.
See, I've noticed. I think I have like a resting like "don't mess with me" face,
Yeah.
because I'm only like 5'8" and I'm not that big. Because I'm from a small town, so moving into
Mhm.
Seattle, I was like, am I gonna get mugged on every street corner? But people like even the homeless people, like there was a
Mhm.
lady that was just like screaming at the crosswalk, and she didn't even like bother with me. I think I just give off this vibe of like
Do not. Not
don't
now.
look at me, because I don't smile, and I think I end up looking like very serious and
Yeah.
intimidating.
And I've been told multiple times when I'm not smiling, like specifically my fucking high school band teacher, I would come in the day not smiling because it's like 8:30 a.m. and he'd be like,
Yeah.
Bella, you look sick. I'm like, fuck yeah, I am, Mr. Anderson. Fuck yeah,
I,
I am.
I had a companion one time. We had to get up super early for a meeting. He was my trainer. He was from Texas, and I was like, I was so tired and I was so mad, and it was just like, oh, I looked horrible. And what was it he said? He was like, Hanks, you look like you tried to give a bobcat, or you tried to bathe a bobcat in a barrel of gasoline with a barbed wire brush. And
That is like,
I was like, what
that's
is
like
that supposed to mean? It means you're
critical
hungover,
mass.
Hanks.
That's critical mass folksy.
Yeah.
Like he's about to turn into like a Texan black hole. That's dangerous. That's dangerous.
Yeah, it was a word salad for sure.
Love a good word salad.
But
So,
yeah, there's so many things where like society expects us to like you have to do
mhm,
this even if you don't want to, or you're not
mhm,
allowed to do this, and
yeah,
it feels very unnatural.
mhm, and it takes work to, like, train yourself out of it,
Yeah.
but it's fun. Other than Bill Burr, do you have any other favorite comedians or any you, like, consider influences?
Oh, the one that's made me laugh the hardest, and I feel like he's not as well known, especially probably among our generation, is John Panette. Have you
I
ever heard of
don't know
him?
him.
He's I discovered him one time when I wasn't feeling good, and it was like
Mhm,
I've never laughed as hard. He was hilarious. He passed away, I think, about like 7 or 8 years ago. But yeah, he's very similar to Bill Burr, though. In fact, I both think they're from like Boston, Massachusetts, and they're both redheads, and they both do angry comedy. So I think that's just my my drug of choice. But yeah, he's really funny. And then I love Larry David,
mhm,
like Curb Your Enthusiasm, because that's the same thing I like about Bill Burr. Is I'm the type of person where if something like bothers me, I can't just let it go. Like
mhm.
I just keep going over it and over and going like, what? Why do we do this? So I like that Larry David does that. He'll pick some innocuous thing that most people just are
Nice.
totally fine with, and then he's just like, no, I need to keep going over this.
I need to question, I need to bite this.
Yeah, and I think it was Jade in Comedy Club
Mhm.
one week. He's like, "You make me think of a Mormon Seinfeld," and I was like, "Thank you."
I remember that.
Yeah,
That
I
was
was
a
like,
really
"Thank
good
you. I
set you
like that."
did. Not to be too complimentary, but I like you joined this quarter with like no experience.
Correct.
You're getting really good.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Like it's so like I've been in comedy club since like sophomore year. It's so much fun seeing people join and like figure out they like it and then get really good.
Yeah, yeah. Because well, I really my goal is more of like to become a writer.
Mhm,
And it doesn't matter what you want what like type of writing you want to do
mhm,
creatively. They always want you to be funny in all the job ads and stuff like that. They're like, "Oh, can you write something funny?"
mhm.
And so I thought, well, it's one thing to think you're funny, but it's probably better to practice and like make
Yeah.
sure that you're actually
Yes.
funny.
It's
So
a
I thought,
muscle.
yeah. So and then everybody tells you at UW, they're like, oh, you gotta join a club, you gotta find a group, you gotta do something. So I was like, oh, I'll go do this, and if it bombs horribly, I can just not come back and hopefully never see any of the people again. But if it goes somewhat well, maybe I can like learn how to write in a funny way. And what I wasn't expecting was you in like you have different reasons for getting up, but once you get up there, you're like, oh no, I think I actually like this.
You're like, "Oh no. Oh no." I get that "oh no," where I'm just like, it's heady. That's what I call it. I call it heady.
Yeah,
Just, like, getting up there and, like, doing well. Ugh.
yeah. There's something about intentionally writing a joke to be
Mhm.
funny, and then it works, and you're like,
Yep.
yes, I did that.
That was me. I have
Yeah,
the power, it was me.
yeah,
Unlike any other. Savory Room 136,
yeah.
6:30s on Wednesday.
It is a savory feeling. But
That's good and it's dumb. It's good and it's dumb and I like it.
have to get at least one pun in.
uh, Stay tuned because when we get back, we'll be talking about the funniest topics, just real gut busters, knee slappers, brain ticklers, learning, and Mormonism. Stay right here.
All my life, I've been good, do what my mom and dad and God say I should. Go to church and Bible school to live by God's rule. So whatever people tell me that the Bible tells me, I will do. Walk the halls of high school with my purity ring. Unlike those other girls, I got my morals in check. It was easy to do till I got a boyfriend, and pardon my French, but he's cute as heck. But I made a pact to keep my hymen intact, and Jesus and I are tight. Never learned about the birds and bees. I was taught to keep an aspirin in between my knees, 'cause the Bible says premarital sex is wrong. But Jason says that guys can't wait that long. I don't want to lose him to someone who'll do him. I need to figure something out. Well, there's a loophole in the scripture that works really well, so I can get him off without going to hell. It's my Hail Mary full of grace. In Jesus' name we go to fifth base. Oh, thank you for making me holy, and thank you for giving me holes to choose from. And since I'm not a godless whore, they'll have to come in the back door. Therefore, fuck me in the ass, 'cause I love Jesus. The good Lord would want it that way. Give me that sweet sensation of a throbbing rationalization. It's just between you and me, 'cause everyone knows it's the sex that God can't see. It's hard to be as pure as me, to resist the urge to lose my vaginal virginity, to wait until my marriage bed to give my husband my unsullied maidenhead. So take your cock out, shove it in my ass, fuck me until you come. Oops, I mean let's join our souls and unite our bodies and fly with the wings of God. Whatever you do, don't touch my clitoris. If you ring Satan's doorbell, God can't ignore this. And no prophylactics when you put it in, 'cause birth control's for sluts and it's a sin. I've emptied my bowels and laid out the towels. I'm ready for romance. Now I'm praying to the power that's the highest. But of all of my holes, this one's the driest. And we can't procreate if we anally copulate. And God's okay with sodomy, but only if you're straight. And I'm staying pure no matter what. So I'm okay with everything but, everything but, everything but. Whoa, fuck me in the ass, 'cause I love Jesus. The good Lord would want it that way. Give me that sweet sensation of a rock-hard rationalization. It's just between you and me, 'cause everyone knows it's the sex that God can't see. I do whatever the Bible tells me to, except for the parts that I choose to ignore, 'cause they're unrealistic and inconvenient, but the rest I live by for sure. So let's not talk about how the good book bans shellfish, polyester, and divorce, and how it condones slavery and killing gays, 'cause those parts don't count, of course. Let's cherry pick the part about losing my cherry and mine it for ambiguities and omissions to circumvent any real sacrifice, but still feel biased in my arbitrary parroted positions. And don't you dare question my convictions, and don't look closely at the contradictions. Just focus on the sacrificial crucifixion and have faith in its complete jurisdiction as the only way to measure if you're good or not. And in a debate, just say to have faith, 'cause when up against logic, it's the only card you've got. So close your eyes, take a deep breath, and fuck me in the ass, 'cause I love Jesus. The good Lord would want it that way. Give me that sweet sensation of an irrational rationalization. It's just between you and me, 'cause everyone knows it's the sex that God can't see. Yeah, my chastity belt has locks, but sometimes you need to think outside the box.
We're back. That was The Loophole by Garfunkel and Oates. And I am quite proud of myself for trying to theme the music this week.
That was so good. When I heard that, I was just like, this is I heard the organ come in. I was like, oh, I feel like I'm back in church. And then the lyrics start. It's like, not quite, but this is funny.
A little different.
Yeah. For sure.
I feel like that song, it was the first one where I ever, that was the first comedy, music I've ever listened to. Ever. That song specifically. Other than, fucking epic rap battles of history, which I'm gonna put my whole ass on the line, I will still watch sometimes. I'll go back and watch the good ones and the new ones, and I'm a little ashamed of that, but I still do it.
No shame. I literally this week have just been on a epic rap battles of history binge.
Yep. Sometimes the horse just grabs you, the demon just takes you, and you're like, I just need to see I need to see all the Russian leaders fight each other again.
They dropped a new one this week, and it just pulled me back in. And I was like, well, now I have to go back and watch all the great ones.
I was going to do something today, but nah. You got me. You got me, ERB.
Yeah, sorry, can't do homework. I'm busy watching historical figures rap battle each other.
Ooh, sorry. I need an extension. Busy. Personal things.
Yeah. The sad part is I think I've honestly possibly like learned more from watching those than a lot of history classes.
Yeah, I feel that because it's the most like youth pastor, like getting the youth involved.
Yeah.
Like, because it's more engaging than history teachers in general.
They do such a good job with the lines that you'll have like this great line, you're like, but I don't know what that means. And so you end up looking it up to figure out the context behind it.
That's what I was just about to say. It has just enough actual information to make you want to Google it. And then, like, I'm someone where, like, the moment I get to the Wikipedia page, I will find one of those fucking blue links. I said one, I mean 8. And I'll just open them up. And that's the rest of my day.
Wikipedia rabbit hole. Yes. Yeah. I go down those on a daily basis.
Yeah. No, one night I was up and it's like, I should probably go to bed. But what about all the horse colors? I need to know them now.
That happens to me so much. So I was homeschooled, and like my mom was not super good at supervising me. I did this co-op thing where you'd go like once a week for a few classes, but then you're supposed to work on homework the rest of the week, and I would just spend my day just like reading Wikipedia. That's how I got into like history. Is I was just like, I'm just going to teach myself the subject.
Yeah, it's that I was the kid where it's like I just picked up a book about like a nonfiction book about like I went through the whole local library section about like psychology nonfiction.
Oh hell yeah!
Quantum mechanics nonfiction because it was a little monster. And then like ancient Egypt nonfiction, but that was when I was like young. But just like I picked it up and just like this is interesting. I want to just run the fuck through it. And honestly, like that self-guided learning is more than
learning is so much. It goes so much better when you're like following something that you're interested in instead of trying to force yourself to learn something that you don't exactly have to do. Because like when I worked at my job, if I needed to learn something for the job, it was a lot easier for me to learn it. But school, it's so abstract. It's like, when am I ever going to use this?
Imagine that for me, it's just like the way it's presented is. I don't know. It doesn't catch me. It doesn't catch. I just like, I don't care. I just don't care. But there are things in history that I do care about. And like, for me, like I'm a STEM person and I feel like that's cause like, I just find it naturally interesting. But the reason I found that is because I fucking read books that I was interested in and are able to like pick up things and topics I'm interested in. And I feel like that's a big problem with like science communication and all teaching communication. Where like if you don't make it interesting for people, they're not going to give a shit.
In high school, I changed the way that my teacher taught history because in my right before my senior year, I went up to my teacher because I was into history at this point, and I basically taught myself U.S. history. And I was like, "You're teaching history wrong. The way we teach history is we say like, okay, we're going to study U.S. history, so we're going to start in 1770, and then we're going to go forward." But for so many students, they don't know why that's important. So it's like the way to teach history is actually to work backwards. You start now, and then you find things that are relevant now, and then you say, we're going to talk about, the history of that and why it's gotten where it is today and why it's important. And so then for that year, I feel like that year I learned way more because she switched. She changed to where she would connect it to like, okay, I think that year we were doing like stuff in the Middle East. And there was, that was in like 2013. So we're over there, we're involved. So it's like, there's all these conflicts going on right now. Well, why are there these conflicts? All right, well, we're going to study the history of Islam and, why there's these conflicts and stuff. And that it made it so like you were way better able to contextualize it and place it in a framework in your mind versus them just like, we're going to talk about the history of Islam today.
That's the fucking key, putting in context. In my own shithead opinion, I feel like the importance of like learning history is to see how shit is connected, to see like literally cause and effect. How did we get to where we are today? What can that inform us about us today? and what can we do to like trace back the like web of things that ties us together right now.
For sure. So I love history, but I hate history classes
Yeah.
because they always just, it's like you're taking such a fascinating thing
Mhm.
and you're talking about it in the most boring way possible. So of
And
course students come away thinking, "Oh, I hate
exactly.
history." And it's like, "No, you probably would like history. You just haven't learned it in a good way
Yeah.
for you."
You just don't enjoy the way it was taught right now.
Yeah.
Which, like, I feel like that's only so partially on teachers' faults. Like you were able to change your mind, but there's like I don't know, standardized tests, curriculum demon, I don't know.
Part of it is just
Spider,
the
potato bug.
structure. I mean, they only have 10 or 10,
Exactly.
11 weeks, so it's like, and they have to cover so much, and
Mhm.
they have to do all these things, and they have to do grading, and they have
Yeah.
so many constraints that they can't really
Yeah.
change the system that much.
And it's hard to like ask every teacher to like find what each student is individually interested in history and point them to that. Like I feel like that's like a lot to ask.
Yeah. I do feel like though they
Yeah.
could do it better than like
No, there's definitely like maybe not being like I'm gonna help you find it out, but like more like encourage like there are things out there that are interesting. You just need to look for them.
And as a communication major, I feel like
Mhm.
teachers don't they need to study that more, like
Mhm.
how to communicate effectively. Because I took this one history class here at the UW last year where the teacher just like droned on through the whole
Mhm.
thing, and it's just like, dude, this is an interesting topic, but you
Yeah.
gotta find a different way to lecture about it because this is just not working.
Mhm. I feel that so much. There's so like we have a couple project based classes in my major, and there will be some people where like when you're talking about this thing I really enjoy, you talk about it in the worst way. It's super
Yeah,
interesting. There are just some like science majors that I just want to grab by the face and just say like, I know you're very smart. We all know you're very smart, professor. You need to move past this dick whacking contest and just talk like a person. We know you know all
yeah.
the numbers. We know you know all the facts. Cut to the important stuff so we can actually learn the keys, the like core material, and then we can branch out from there. You got it. Like
Yes.
there's so many people when they're presenting a paper, they get lost in either details or they assume things that the audience doesn't know. And it's just like, I'm very passionate about science communication because so many people are fucking bad at it. And I feel like
Amen.
it obscures
Amen.
like science is interesting. It's so fucking cool. You just have to have someone to explain to you in human words why it's so fucking cool.
Yeah, yeah. That's especially when that I don't like when the pandemic started and they
Mm-hmm.
had to switch to online learning and everybody's like, "Oh, well, we need to be sympathetic with schools and teachers because they're having to adjust." And I'm like, online learning isn't new. The internet is not new. None of this is new. This stuff has existed for at least 15 years. And you
Mm-hmm.
guys are just now realizing that, oh, maybe we need to change the way that we teach. And it's like, I'm not, I have a limited level of sympathy for that, especially when they were trying to adjust their classes online. I get
Mm-hmm.
for like the first little bit because it's midway through the school year and you just got to switch. But then they didn't spend the summer like preparing for like
Mm-hmm.
doing another year of online learning. I had because I took one class last year where designed specifically to be online,
Mm-hmm.
and what I liked is they had experts prepare the lecture material,
Mm-hmm.
and then they did a production value. So it looked like they had filmed it on a green screen, and they turned it into like short little 5 minute
Mm-hmm.
videos that were like it was much more effective. They were boiled down to just the essentials,
Mm-hmm.
and so it was like you'd read a little bit, you'd watch a 5 minute video, you'd read another bit, and it's like that. It works so much better
Mm-hmm.
than the standard 50-minute lecture
Mm-hmm.
where they just fill up time with bloat and get lost in the details and
Yeah.
don't explain things well. And it's like, yes, better communication makes it so you can understand what they're talking about
Mm-hmm.
easier.
Yeah. I've never been someone where like if someone just talks at me, I can't absorb that information. I need to either write it down, read it, or see it. And I'm not the only person. But like
Yeah.
breaking things down to make them like achievable, it's
I can do long lectures if and only if it is like an expert.
oh yeah.
Someone someone who can talk for an hour about a subject without any, like, they just know what they're talking about and they have passion for it, and there's some people that can make that format work,
Mhm.
but it's like it's not an everyone thing.
Some of my classes last year were 2-hour lectures twice a week, and that was a fucking struggle every single time.
Yeah.
Where I could tell, even though the professors, like, they were experts, I could tell that this is a problem that UW STEM, I believe, has, because you have a lot of professors who their main job is that they're hired on to do research, to produce
Yeah.
research for the university. And I've had a couple of professors where, like, I teach one class and I do research the rest of the year. And it's like, cool, you teach that one class, you literally have less practice in teaching, and it's teaching. You don't Someone can be a really good baker, but that doesn't mean they can teach you how to bake.
Yeah,
It's a different skill.
it
Someone can
is.
be a very good skier, but that doesn't mean they can teach you how to ski, because at some point when you get so good at something, it just becomes second nature, it just becomes muscle memory, so you forget how hard it is when you're just introduced to a topic.
And you have some teachers whose only experience with the field is from an academic perspective.
Mm-hmm. Which is also bad.
So the best science teacher I had was at Bellevue College. She had worked in the oil fields. It was a geology class. She had
Mm-hmm.
worked in the oil fields for like 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So she didn't have any notes. She would just get up and talk, and if you asked her a question, she would give you an in-depth
Mm-hmm.
answer on, I will explain to you why the Mississippian period is called the Mississippian period, because that's the exact area that I was working in when I was doing oil
Mm-hmm.
drilling. And it was just like, it went so much better. And the funny part is she talked in a monotone voice, but that was tolerable because she knew what she
Yep.
was talking about.
I had a teacher just like that. He was it was like an engineering fundamentals class. So basically, like, if you press on a table, how does it move? Does it move? It shouldn't. But he had been like a bridge inspector for the state of Washington for like 20 years before he started teaching. And he was also like really good at the tech side, but he had this Austrian accent that he made fun of himself at the first, where he's like, if I sound like oh god, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, sorry. We're just gonna do this together. And it was just him, like, and he also had like these video segments he would post that were super helpful, but like you know when someone knows their shit.
Yes.
He'd be like, yeah, I would see like cracks on bridges, here's why that's bad, here's how it happened, here's how to stop it from happening. And I think the funniest thing about that is, like, so he would post those video segments, and I had his class right when COVID hit, so he was the one that got cut off for me. So he posted like some videos on his personal YouTube page to like make up for lectures. And the only other video on that personal YouTube page was a time-lapse video of him and his wife making apple strudel. With just like royalty-free music in the background, their dogs running around.
Yeah.
It's very sweet. But like, when someone like knows their shit.
I'm surprised nobody has tried to create like a sort of a disruptive university where it's geared towards structuring it for like online learning,
Mm-hmm.
and having, so like you have experts who help make the
Mm-hmm.
material or sort of write it out,
Mm-hmm.
and then have communication experts who help break it down and structure it and make it more effective, because I feel like that would just kill in comparison to a lot of universities offer.
Yeah.
If it, well, and it comes down to having the accreditation, but if you can get
Mm-hmm.
the accreditation, then the rest of it would
Accreditation, and
come.
there's always like the issue with like prestige in universities, and like the fact that like it doesn't matter, but
Yeah.
it does matter. And I feel like there's also the problem with like a lot of fully online universities. They're scams. They can be scams.
Yes. Yeah.
But which is a shame, because like online learning is so much more like accessible to people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like,
But that's they say, oh, go to school because school's about learning. And in my experience, it's not. Like, maybe in like grade school, but after that, it's just not about, especially at college level, it's about so many things other than learning.
mhm. I don't know. It's so much, and there's so much like conflicting stuff, because I've been told by like a couple people where it's like, yeah, well, you have to do this to get your degree, but really they're gonna like teach you what you need to know on the job.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, cool. But like, part of it is just, I feel like there's some learning that needs to be done, maybe not in an institution, but in a structured way, just to like set you up for further success. So like, you need to know a baseline in order to look it up for yourself.
Mm. So, well, I used to think that I was like, oh, college is so poorly designed for what it's supposed to do, and we need to change it. But then I realized, no, they're never going to change it because it's too good at doing what they want it to do. Because
Yeah.
so we all know that almost every job nowadays that pays a decent wage requires you to have a 4-year degree, seemingly or arbitrarily. They'll say it doesn't matter what your degree is in, you just have to have a degree. Why is that? Well, it comes down to like to get through college, you have to go through so much crap and
Mm-hmm.
hoops. And it's also structured to where you basically have to sign up for classes without knowing really anything
Mm-hmm.
about them. Like you just get a little blurb. And then I've taken so many classes where the little blurb has very little to do with what the actual class is about. So you have to sign up for, if you're on a quarter system, you got to sign up for 3 of those. You have to hop in, you have like 1 or 2 weeks to figure out what the teacher wants you to do without them explicitly telling you,
Mm-hmm.
how they like their stuff done, and then you basically have to teach yourself the material and how to do that. And then you do that for 10 weeks, and then you pick up, and then you do it again and again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
And to get through college, to graduate, you have to stop fighting it, and you just have to like conform to that. So by the time you get through that, you're super ready for a corporate career, because then the big business can hire you. They can pop you down on whatever team you want without knowing what, and they don't want to train you. They don't want to teach you how to do your job. And you've got a boss, and the boss wants it done a certain way, but they're not going to tell you how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have to, but you've spent 4 years learning how to do that. And so then you're just like geared up to figure that all out on your own, because
It's
that's what you've been
adaption.
doing. That's what you've been doing for 4 years.
It's in testing endurance. How much are you willing to put up with before quitting? It's also, I think, like a bar between people, because like, who can go to college? Who can go to a 4-year college? Normally it's people with already like some money in their pocket, or people willing to go into debt.
Yeah.
So it means you have a set amount of money, or you need a set amount of money, so you need to work to pay off that debt.
Yeah.
Also, you can't change college, because how would they have football then, Patrick? You can't have football if it's an
That's
online
true.
university.
That's true. Yeah, that's another component of, we
Mhm.
basically, especially for like football, the minor league football is essentially college sports.
So much fucking money.
Instead of making it like, okay, we're gonna have this actual minor league professional sports that they
Mhm.
can go do and get paid if they're really good at, it's like, no, we've turned that into colleges, and there's some
We have
colleges that make so much money from that.
we have student amateurs who work probably over 40 hours a week on this job that they're not paid for, because it's not a job, because they're amateurs, because they're students.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
It's it's I always get the overwhelming sense when I'm looking at any problem like this, like college or anything like this. It's like there's so many factors that are twisted together, and it's, I don't know, it feels unescapable.
Part as a senior, my perspective now, I can see why it's so hard to change,
Mm-hmm.
because once it's a club. It's like you can see why other things in our history that probably
Mm-hmm.
should have ended a lot sooner than they did stayed around for so long.
Yeah.
Because once you get in the club, it's like, well, I worked really hard to get in here. I don't really want to dismantle the club. I want to reap the benefits of being in the club now, because it's like I'm approaching graduation, and it's like I've spent a boatload of money, and I worked really hard for this, so I want to enjoy all the arbitrary
Mm-hmm.
benefits, even though it's pretty dumb and we should do away with it.
But I
It's like,
want it.
and that's what, I took one communication class that they talked about like ceremonies and
Mm-hmm.
performances and kind of what their purpose is, and I realized that graduation is not about celebrating your achievement. It's about them like saying you're part of the club now, and you have to defend the club. You
Mm-hmm.
right, because you've spent a lot of money for that piece of paper. You
Yeah.
don't want that piece of paper to become worthless.
It's not just the club, it's this club at this university. You're an
Yes.
alumni now. Give us money.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then it's like I can see it, like I could imagine, like whenever I see somebody who also went to Bellevue College, I go, oh, you went to Bellevue College too. I'm gonna become arbitrarily connected to you because we went to the same place, which is really dumb because I mean almost anybody can get into Bellevue College. So it's like
It's so crazy to me, people who are like so ardently alumni, like they're really alumni, like they really
yeah.
care about being alumni, where it's like, I like UW, don't get me wrong, don't kick me out. But I like it here. I'm kicking here. But like, am I gonna keep giving money when they're not providing me a service? No, I'm not.
Yeah.
That's not how business works. That's not how this
Yeah.
works.
Well,
No.
they're gonna ask you for money.
And they can keep doing it. I do not see that email. That is not for me.
Yeah.
I refuse. I refuse to see it.
Yeah. I think I
Simply
got
not
an email
there.
like that from Bellevue, and it's like, A, I don't have money to give you. B, they did a little stupid thing where it's like they wouldn't give me my degree over a stupid thing, and so it took a year to fix, and so now I'm really like, well, I'm definitely not giving you money now.
The gall. The gall to be like, you can't have your degree, but also, do you have like a 10?
Bellevue has this problem where they will have two classes that are
Mhm.
functionally the same, but they're listed in different departments.
Mhm.
And so what they said is like, oh, you took this class in geology, but you were supposed to take it in geography. And because of that, we're following these state guidelines, and you don't meet the state guidelines. You were supposed to take three different science classes in three different disciplines, and you didn't do that. You took two geology classes. So, and we have to follow these state guidelines, so we can't give you your degree. And I was like, okay, well, A, these classes are the same. It's literally the same subject. They're just different departments, but it's the same thing. I could take the test for that other class and
Mhm.
ace it right now. And then B, I went and checked the state guidelines, and the state guidelines say you have to take three classes from two different disciplines. So I went back to them and said, you're actually not following the state guidelines. You're doing your own thing. So can you grant me an exception? And they're like, we can't grant an exception because we have to follow the state guidelines. And so you have to, and it's just like, are you kidding me? And it was crazy because my dad has worked at Bellevue College
Mhm.
for 25 years, and my sister-in-law has worked there for probably almost 10 years.
Mhm.
And so it's like, I'm like, I actually used some connections to talk to somebody
Mhm.
higher up. I feel bad for any students that go through this and didn't have that, and they still would not grant me an exception. And it's like, so I had to take a science class here at UW and then reverse transfer it
Ugh.
for them to finally give me my degree. But it
Mhm.
messes up the timeline because it's going to show that I went to Bellevue College for like 4 years, and then it's going to look like I only went to UW for like 1 year. So I know when I apply for jobs, they're going to be like,
Mhm.
what happened here?
I just want to believe that you have like a pre-printed and laminated sheet describing, like, just a transcript of what you just told me. You can just slide across. Like, I know. Here's the phone number where you can call and talk to the person that did this to me and share your complaints. Because I also have some complaints.
I'll just make a business card that's like, don't ask.
Here's what happened.
Yeah.
This is what you're getting, so I don't have to say it again.
Oh,
I
it's
know, I was
just,
about to
just
say, like, what's the point of nepotism if you can't talk to someone to fix your degree?
I
I feel like
know.
your dad should have pulled more weight there, if I'm going to be honest.
He's in the continuing education department, so they're
Mm.
like, they get treated like their own thing. They're
Mm.
not, you know.
Damn. Ugh, a bummer.
Yeah.
What's the point? What's the point of having a dad if he doesn't have connections?
Stupid rules. Stupid rules. Rules
You're
that
the
don't
bad
even
boy
make
Mormon,
sense.
I can tell.
Yeah. Speaking of stupid rules.
Yes, Comedy Club has a long, illustrious line of
Of Mormons.
ex-Mormon, oh yeah,
Yeah.
members. Our soon to be leaving co-president Bean, previous co-president Jordan. We've got a lot of I feel like this is the first time maybe in like 3 years that Comedy Club has not had a ex-Mormon co-president.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It makes
After
it
the
makes
leave
sense
atheist,
though, because
baby.
like you grow up and you have to do like assignments when you're like a teenager. So it makes sense that they get in there and they're just like, yep, I'm going to run this.
Gonna run this ship.
Because by the time you get to 18, you're used to having to do that like 10 different times that you're just like, it's just ingrained. You don't even think about it. That happens to me. I get in something, it's like, all right, I'll take charge.
See, I do that, but it's because I'm bossy.
Oh, see, there you go.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do it
Bossy.
just because like I want this done right and I don't want to waste time and I don't
That's
trust
what I
any of
meant.
you to do it.
Talking about society's rules, I'm not bossy. I'm, what the fuck is the man word for it? I don't know. Driven.
That's what's funny is the man word is just like, oh, you're a good leader.
Yeah, that's it. I'm just like, I like things done right, and I don't trust any of you bitches to do it.
You're just confident.
Mine is like, I'm telling someone to hold the poster. That's the move.
Yeah.
Yes, you said in a previous set, you almost killed a zone leader with a grape laced with, oh god, was it like
oregano oil?
Oregano oil?
Yeah. Mission shenanigans.
You got more mission shenanigans?
Oh,
You
for
bad
sure.
boy? You bad boy of Mormonism.
The funny part is like, so my mission is, it was so weird because as a growing up, you have this very idyllic version of like missionaries and what they are. And then I got out there and my companions are just spending like 24/7 talking about very explicit sexual things and it just oh, what about this or what about that or no, you got to do it like this. And I'm just like, this is not what being a missionary is supposed to
This
be
isn't
like.
in the Bible? Any
And then,
3 parts of it?
and then my mission is like most, it's like super disobedient. It's so disobedient that they had a nickname for it. We called it Disso. Like we're a Disso mission. And
Disso.
yeah, so they would tell me all these legends of like these missionaries that did these like crazy stuff but they got caught. That's the thing. So my one trainer, he's like, Hanks, I'll tell you what the Brown handbook is. It's called the Brown handbook because the stereotype is all the Polynesian and like the Hispanic elders don't care as much for the rules, so they made their own handbook. And the rule was like, rule number 1 was have fun. Which I realize now as a Mormon, it's sort of Puritan. You're like taught not to have fun. So rule number 1, have fun. Rule number 2, don't get caught. And then rule number 3 is don't get caught having fun. And the explanation was they're like, because if you get caught and you didn't have fun, then you can just be like, oh, I'm so sorry, President. I wasn't even having fun. I'm never going to do that again.
I've never had fun.
But they're like, but if you get caught having fun, it's going to be really hard for you to be contrite about it because you're going to be like, honestly, though, it was pretty good.
Oh, yes, President. No, you did catch me doing that. But in my defense, I was having a really good time.
Yeah. So, and they were like, so there's all these missionaries, like they do crazy stuff, but they get caught. So they're like, they taught me the value. Like, they're like, you don't want to get caught because then that comes with its whole set of things and stuff. So it's kind of funny because like I'd go talk to other missionaries and they had heard of like the legendary Disso elders, but they hadn't heard of any of things that my companions ever got up to because my companions were both like super skilled at not getting caught. I didn't end up being that Disso myself, but I got they kind of sorted people into like either you were chill or you weren't chill, basically like narcs. They called it narcs, drug terms. And they hated narcs. There's nothing they hated more than someone who would participate in like all the missionaries. Like I heard about one missionary who they got together and did something, and then one missionary went and narked on all of them, so they all got in trouble. And my companions hated. They'll avoid those guys. They will not go anywhere involved with those dudes. And so I got status like I was chill. Like I'm not gonna report you. I don't want to participate, but I'm not going to like be uptight about anything.
I won't report you, but I will remember this and save it for later.
Yeah. And with my companions, I was like, I'm not going to tell the mission president if you're doing stuff or not, but also I'm not going to lie for you. So don't.
Thank you for talking to me, Patrick, the bad boy of Mormonism. And thanks everyone for listening to UW Comedy Hour. Tune in next week at 9 a.m. where I won't be here because we don't have an episode because it's Dead Week. Make sure to follow Rainy Dawg on Instagram at Rainy, DAWG, for more great radio. Follow at UW Comedy Club on Instagram for show schedules, meeting info, and information about our upcoming show tonight. UW Comedy Club has meetings in Savory Hall, room 136, every Wednesday at 6:30, where there is no experience required to have a good time. Keep listening to Rainy Dawg Radio. Hear hisses and kicks and whispers from the thing right behind you.
Oh, thank you for making me holy, and thank you for giving me holes to choose from. And since I'm not a godless whore, he'll have to come in the back door. Therefore, fuck me in the ass, cause I love Jesus. The good Lord would want it that way. Give me that sweet sensation of a throbbing rationalization. It's just between you and me, cause everyone knows it's the sex that God can't see.